tema de CommSessions del día de hoy es comunicación digital. Los expositores que nos
digital
visitan
concession.
el día de
The
hoy
expositors
son
visiting
de la
today
Dirección
are from the
Interamericana,
Inter-American
Abel Márquez y Libna
Division,
Stevens del
Abel
Departamento de
Márquez and Linda
Comunicación,
Stevens,
Lorenzo Verduzco del
from
Departamento de
the
Desarrollo de
Communications
Software
Verduzco,
y
from
Samuel
the
Gutierrez y
Development,
David
and Samuel
Gutierrez que nos
Gutierrez and
visitan
David
desde Monterrey,
Gutierrez
México.
from Monterrey,
Bienvenidos.
Mexico. Welcome.
¿Recuerdas la primera vez que te
Remember the first
conectaste
time you
al
connected
internet?
to the internet?
Yo sí,
I
fue en el
can.
año de
It was
1995.
1995.
Yo recuerdo que esa primera
I remember
ocasión que
that
yo me
first
conecté al
time that I
internet,
connected to the
no
internet.
sabía
I
qué
didn't
página
know
visitar,
what
porque había muy
page to
pocas
visit.
páginas
There were
web en
very
ese
few
tiempo.
web pages at the
Inclusive
time.
cuando yo gradué de la universidad en
When
el
I
año
graduated in
1992, se dice
1992,
que había solamente
we say
10
that there were
páginas web
only 10
en todo
web
el internet.
pages in the
Qué
whole internet.
interesante, ¿no es cierto? Pero saben, para el año
Interesting. But in
1998
1998,
existían ya
there were
2.400 páginas
2,400
web.
pages,
Un
web
crecimiento
pages,
exponencial.
an
Sin
exponential
embargo,
growth.
hablar de
However,
ese número
speaking of
era
that
un
number
número
was
pues
a
muy pequeño.
a small number
2.400
rather,
páginas en todo el
2,400
internet.
pages in all
Sin
internet.
embargo, la Iglesia
However,
Adventista
the
del Séptimo
Adventist
Día,
Church
aquí, en la división
here in the
interamericana,
Inter-American
lanzó su
Division
primer sitio web en ese año,
launched this first
1998.
website
José Romero,
in
quien es director de
1998.
informática en la división
José
interamericana
Romero,
en ese
informatic
tiempo, con código
director,
HTML, y
had a
programó una
code
sencilla
and
página
programmed a
que
simple
se colgó
page
en
that
el
was
internet,
placed in the internet
1998.
in
Esa
1998.
página tenía una información
That
muy
page
básica,
had
era
a very
prácticamente
basic
una caja
page.
con
It was a
algunas otras
box
cajitas
with a
adentro de
few smaller boxes
fotografías,
and
alguna
photography,
información muy básica,
some basic
pero fue una
information,
proeza
but it was
digna de
a
admirar.
huge
Habiendo tan
prowess
pocas páginas web en
because
todo el
there were
mundo, la
very
Iglesia
few
Adventista
pages in the
contaba
world.
ya con su propio
But the
sitio
Adventist Church
web.
had its own website.
Pasaron unos pocos
A
años
few years
y
passed,
se vio la necesidad
and
de
we saw the
tener más
need of
sitios
having
web, o un
more
mejor sitio
websites,
web para la
better
Iglesia
websites for the
Adventista del
church, the
Séptimo Día. Fue en
Adventist
el año de
Church. And in
2003 cuando se
2003,
planificó este
we
proyecto ahora de
planned
tener un
this
sitio
project
con más
of having
fotografías, con más
this
información,
site with more
y algo
photography,
característico
with
de
more
esta página
information.
web
And something
fue que
characteristic of
se
this
diseñó
webpage
a la
is
medida
that
de
it
la
was
división
designed for
interamericana,
the Inter-American Division,
incluyendo tres idiomas,
including
los tres
the
idiomas
three basic
oficiales de la
official
división interamericana,
languages
el
of the
inglés,
Inter-American
el
Division,
francés y el español.
English,
Podríamos
French,
decir
and
tres
Spanish.
páginas en
3
una.
pages in
Pero en
one,
ese
we could
tiempo
say.
no
But then at the
existían los
time,
teléfonos
there
celulares
were no
inteligentes
cell
como los
phones, no
tenemos hoy en día.
smartphones as we
No
have them
existían
today.
las tabletas y
We
toda
didn't have
esa
tablets
parafernalia
and
de
all that
tecnología que
technology
conocemos hoy.
paraphernalia we have
Y
today.
en 2012
And in
ya vimos la
2012,
necesidad de
we saw
evolucionar,
the
dar un paso
need
adelante
to
y
evolve,
lanzar un
to
nuevo
step
sitio con
forward
mucha
and
más
send
información, con mejores
send a
gráficas
new
y
site
con
with more
un diseño de
information,
usuario
more
mucho más
graphics, more
accesible y más agradable para los miembros. Así que se
user-friendly
lanzó esta nueva
size.
página
So
web,
we sent
la que
forth
tenemos
this new
actualmente
page that we
en línea.
presently have
Esa
online.
página ha sufrido algunos
That
cambios.
page
En
has been
2013
changed.
se
In
hicieron algunas
2013, we
adecuaciones,
made
banners
some
más grandes,
important
limpiando un
changes.
poco
We
para hacerla
cleaned
más
it up. We
accesible,
better
más
banners,
práctica
make it more
de utilizar.
accessible, more practical
Y
in use.
para el año
And in
2018, es
2018,
decir, en el aniversario número 20
in
de
the
aquel
20th
lanzamiento de la primera
anniversary
página
of
web,
the
no podíamos quedarnos
launching
atrás
of the 20th
con una
page,
página
20
tan
years later.
estática y tan
We
limitada.
didn't want to
Teníamos que
stay
estar a la
static on that
vanguardia. Así
old
que
page.
hace
We wanted to
aproximadamente
be
un
in the
año
vanguard.
comenzamos
So
con un
about a year
proyecto
ago, we had
de
a project to
desarrollo de un
develop
nuevo sitio web
this
para la
new
Iglesia Adventista
website
del
for the
Séptimo Día,
Adventist Church
aquí en la división
in the
interamericana,
Inter-American
con un
Division,
objetivo en mente,
with one
un
object
objetivo
in mind, a
principalmente en
main
mente,
object
y
in
es
mind.
apoyar
That
el
is
cumplimiento
to
de la
help
misión de la Iglesia Adventista
the
del Séptimo Día en
fulfillment
todo este
of
territorio de
the
Interamérica desde un
mission of the
ambiente
church
digital.
in the
Para cumplir
Inter-American
ese
Division
objetivo,
with a main digital object. We had some challenges, the evolution of technology, the change of the paradigms, the new technologies that we had. That obliged us to have different technologies, different digital forms. The way of telling stories, the way of sharing the news, it had to be actualized to the 21st century. We had a solid support from the news. We needed to integrate to the reality, to the visual reality of the Adventist Church, a relevant content, and that content might be available for the public in an easy and user-friendly format. These are the challenges we stood out. We had three main pillars. First, to inspire the audience, to inspire through the news, through the stories, through the articles, the images, the whole content, to inspire those that visited the webpage, interamerica.org. The second pillar was to involve, to establish a conversation, to be more friendly, so that that conversation would support the dialogue, the interaction, and so that would be engaged. And the third element would be to empower, to give resources for the members of the church so that they may also be able to fulfill their mission with projects and resources. This project consisted then basically of two principal areas, two main areas. A concept that we had to analyze the digital platform and, of course, the content. In these three areas, we're going to emphasize today from different perspectives, technical perspectives, the different concepts that we manage in the Inter-American Division with the web page. So we ask you to continue with us so that you may know this new concept.
Hola, soy Keila Trejo y actualmente trabajo en el Departamento de Comunicación de la División Interamericana. Saben que desde muy pequeña tuve un gusto grande por la fotografía y a los 15 años tuve mi primera cámara reflex. Me gustaba mucho, pero era sencilla y yo creo que entre mejor equipo tuviera, mis imágenes iban a ser mejores. El tiempo y la experiencia me dijeron que no es así, que en realidad hay algunos aspectos básicos que cuidar antes que pensar en tener un mejor equipo. Y estos aspectos son, número uno, debes tener planeado desde antes qué mensaje quieres dar y cómo lo vas a dar. Una vez que tienes esto, busca el lugar más adecuado. Si no cuentas con luces, no te preocupes, busca una iluminación natural. Busca usar reflectores como una pared blanca, como una cartulina. No te compliques mucho, pero sí haz pruebas para saber que vas a tener una buena iluminación. También toma en cuenta que si vas a tomar un video, el audio va a ser importantísimo. Entonces, de preferencia, trata de contar con un micrófono para que el audio pueda ser de mucho mayor calidad. En caso de no tener un micrófono, cuida mucho los ruidos en el ambiente. Y por último, quiero invitarte a que siempre busques aprender más, investiga más, busca gente que hace cosas creativas, que hace este tipo de producciones y siempre pregunta, no tengas miedo, no tengas vergüenza, es buenísimo cada vez saber más para poder servir mejor a Dios y poder esparcir este mensaje que estamos buscando que mucha gente sepa.
Try to share with the people. From the very beginning, the Inter-American Division has had a vision to generate content, to inform, to inspire, to show its people in all its territory. We can see evidence of this in thousands of publications that were distributed everywhere when the division was organized in 1922.
1925, aquí
In
tengo un ejemplar que les
1925,
quería
I would like
compartir.
to share this
Una
with
publicación
you.
que la división hacía
This is
llamada
a publication
Inter-American Messenger. Y en este boletín
the Inter-American Division
que
did. It was called the
distribuían con
Inter-American Messenger.
fotografías, tenía
They had
noticias,
photographs,
tenía algunos
news,
mensajes cortos de
short
líderes
messages,
impulsando evangelismo,
pushing forth
planes,
evangelism,
iniciativas. Y esta era
plans,
una edición
initiatives.
especial
This
del
was a
primer trimestre de
special
1925, que era un informe
program
del
in
avance de la
1925.
iglesia
It was a
y de
report
la obra
on the
en el
advance of the
Caribe.
church
Así que es
and
interesante
the
cómo
work
la
in the
iglesia,
Caribbean.
pues en su
So this
inicio
is
aquí en la
the
división, pues usó este medio de las
how
publicaciones,
this
que fue algo muy
publication
poderoso,
means
pues la
was
manera que
used
tenía
back
a su
in
alcance para
2000,
poder conectar, para poder
1925.
informar, inspirar a sus
They were
líderes.
connected
Aquí
and trying to
siguió
inspire
usando
the
la división
leaders. They continued to
esos medios
use
de
these
publicaciones. Aquí
publications.
una versión más
Here's
con más color.
another
Aquí está el
version
Messenger.
of the Messenger
Interesante como
with more
ahora
color,
tenemos el IM, el
with more
Messenger también.
information. We have the IM Messenger in
1972 seguía todavía el
1972.
Messenger.
It was
Esta
continued
era ya como una
being
revista como de
published.
12 páginas. La primera página tenía ya
The
color y un
pages-
mensaje del presidente Archibald en ese tiempo
don't see what they're
animando
doing.
a los líderes, a los pastores en
It-
todo
The
el campo de
pastors, the
Interamérica
leaders were
para impulsar
wanted
este
to
evangelismo
see
72,
what they
como le
were
llamaban.
trying to
Muy
do.
interesante,
Evangelism
tenía noticias,
1972. It
fotografías
had
de
news,
todo el
photography of all the
en la
advances
división.
that were
Siguió
going on at the
también,
division.
ya en los 80,
In the 80s and
un
1980s,
boletín que se
a
llamaba
bulletin
Chispazos. No sé si
was
algunos se
called
recuerdan de los
Chispazos.
chispazos, pero
Some of you might
no
remember
hace mucho
Chispazos,
tiempo, en
but
los
this
80,
wasn't too long
aún en
ago.
los
In the
90
80s
también
and in the
había
90s,
noticias,
there were
mucho
news,
contenido
a lot
de
of
el
content
avance,
about the
informes
advance,
de las reuniones, de los
the
votos, de los acuerdos,
information of
de
the
los líderes,
agreements and the
y
votes
fue
taken
algo que
from the leaders.
siguió inspirando.
This was
Ya con la venida de
continued
la
to
máquina de
inspire
fax, por
with
ahí por
the
los 90,
entrance of the
pues,
fax
ya se eliminó
machine.
ese boletín porque tomaba pues meses para llegar a los campos ellos lo mandaban con los
This was coming
con las lecciones de escuela
so the
sabática,
lessons
así
of
que
Sabbath school
podían
lessons,
tomar dos
so
meses
that
o a veces
it could
3
take
para llegar ya a los
2
campos.
months,
Ya con
3
la
months
máquina,
to get
pues,
to the
se
field.
empezó a enviar
With the
un
fax machines,
fax.
they
Era un
started to
boletín
send
bien
one
simple,
fax,
con
a
mensajes cortos
simple,
del
short
presidente de la
bulletin
Asociación
from the
General, igualmente
president of the
el
General
presidente de la
Conference,
administración aquí de la
the
división.
president of
Ya
the
llegando
division,
ya el
and so on.
internet, pues
When
la
internet
división,
arrived, the
pues, ya como
division,
escucharon a Abel decir,
you already heard
empezó
Abel
a
speak,
establecer su página y
it began
a
to
medida que ha
establish
pasado
its web
estos
page,
años de
and
los,
as the years have gone by,
1998,
in
1998,
1998
ya
and
a este
others
año, pues,
through this
ha
year,
siendo llenado
it
por más
continues to be
diseño,
filled
más
with more
recursos,
design,
más
more
fotografías,
resources,
más
more
información
photography,
para
more
seguir,
information to continue
inspirando y
inspiring
equipando a los
and
líderes.
equipping
Bueno,
our leaders.
ya con el internet
With
hemos
the
tenido muchos
internet,
más
we have
programas
more
en
programs,
vivo, que
more
se han
live
multiplicado,
programs that have
igualmente
been
con
multiplied,
más recursos de
more
fotografías,
photography
más recursos de
resources,
videos.
more video
Y en sí,
resources.
cuando llegó ya los social media platforms, las plataformas de medios
When
sociales,
the
pues,
social media
igual se ha
platforms arrived,
multiplicado más el
they have
contenido,
been multiplying
que
the
ha ayudado
content,
también a apoyar
helping
a los departamentos,
to
a los ministerios de la
support
iglesia con sus
the
iniciativas, con sus
ministries
actividades,
and the
para
church
seguir
ministries
con la
with their
misión de seguir,
activities, with their
proclamando el
programs,
mensaje.
with
Más
the idea
contenido
of
ya se ha podido
continuing to
generar gracias
program the
a nuestros
message.
medios, nuestros
Our media
medios en todos los campos, con el
throughout
Hope
the
Channel
field
Inter-America,
with Hope Channel
siguiendo en
Inter-America and so on.
colaboración con
We
nuestros
continue
líderes
collaborating
en
with
cada
our
unión.
leaders in each union.
¿Qué buscamos hoy en día?
What are we
Buscamos
looking for
más
today?
colaboración,
We're looking
porque
for
queremos abarcar aún
greater
más,
contribution.
poder
We
seguir
want to
inspirando a
share
nuestros
more
líderes,
and inspire
inspirando a nuestros
even more
miembros,
our
a que
leaders,
se puedan
our
seguir
members,
conectando, a que se
so that
puedan
they may
seguir
continue
inspirando para la
connecting
obra tan
and
importante que
inspire
Dios nos ha dado.
them for the work that God
Nosotros
has given
estamos
us. We are committed to helping to continue using all the resources that we have at hand so that we may create greater content. We ask for your cooperation from leaders, from the writers in all our fields, that we may continue to inspire, that we may use that stories of personal transformation from our personnel, all the educational achievements. We want to adapt even greater, continue collaborating together, that we may inspire, we may connect and involve and equip to continue with the mission of the church. So we urge you to continue communicating with us for God's great glory.
Cuando Jesús estuvo aquí en la tierra, demostró ser un excelente fotógrafo, pues aunque no tenía una cámara, era un excelente narrador de historias. Describía escenas con todos sus detalles, compartía expresiones y por medio de cada emoción que generaba, captaba la atención de su audiencia. Los métodos creativos simples y auténticos que utilizaba son una inspiración para nosotros, sus discípulos creativos.
Michael Jordan estaba muy triste, estaba frustrado. Hacía ya algunos meses, algunos años que estaba jugando muy bien, acumulaba 20 hasta 30 puntos por partido, pero no lograba los campeonatos. Y él dejaba todo en la cancha, hacía todo lo posible. Esto lo vio Phil Jackson, su entrenador, y un día se acercó con él y le dijo: oye Michael, veo que lo estás haciendo muy bien. Veo que estás metiendo bastantes puntos por partido, estás jugando espectacular. Pero te voy a pedir algo y tal vez se te haga un poco extraño. Michael Jordan le dijo: bueno, sí, dime, ¿de qué está pasando? Te voy a pedir que hagas menos puntos por partido. Michael Jordan se sorprendió y dijo: oye, ¿cómo? O sea, lo que me estás pidiendo es medio...
Michael Jordan said, this is contradictory. What's going on? This is strange. And then he says, well, yes, your team seems a little more outshined by you. They need to have the ball more. You have to play more in a team, as a team. So let's go for the team. Michael Jordan didn't like it, but he remembered his coach's words, and so he started to passing the ball and not throwing so much. Trying not to shine so much, and his friends, his team started to block more, to take the ball more, and the Bulls then began to get their championships, and they became the greatest team in the Michael Jordan became the greatest player in the NBA, maybe in the whole history of the sports. I'm telling you about two different reasons. What I'm asking you is to let's form a team. We are not Michael Jordans, we are all a team. And for a second reason, the importance of stories. This is an anecdote of Michael Jordan is in the format of a story. What is a story? How is a story formed? We have to see their value. We ask everyone to be part of it. It is also a very interesting format to see, to emotion the people, to get the people to grow. When you do a bonfire, people get together. What do you talk about? You told your story about your life, about your things that help you grow. A basic model is a challenge. Michael challenge story. The challenge was when his trainer told him to to shoot less and get less points per game. And what he was asked to do was to play more as a team. So this conflict, he would not be so much a star on his own, but as a team. And the championships came and the conflict. So we're asking, when you're going to tell a story, when you're going to teach something, when you're going to be emotional, many great people have used these storytelling, politics and science in our time. Steve Jobs, for example, Winston Churchill, Martin Luther King, and many great men had something very in common. They were storytellers, and they had stories to tell. And if we talk about if we're talking about great storytellers, we have to go to the greatest, Jesus. His method was based on metaphors and stories and parables. His teachings were shaped in stories. There was a father, for example, a rich man that had 2 children, and one of them asked for his heritage. So I'm telling you a story. All life is conformed through stories. So use the stories. Join our team and make of this Inter-American team a winning team, reaching the goal that we all know.
Mi nombre es Moisés.
My name is Moses.
Soy un ejemplo de una vida
I am
transformada
an
en
example of a life transformed by Jesus.
Lee mi historia en la Biblia.
Read my story in the Bible. Technologically, the implementation of the Inter-American site was designed to use a platform content management system, WordPress. We had several challenges to give the information, to give it the way we wanted, and for that we designed some templates that would be able to interpret and communicate what we wanted to communicate. We also developed some plugins so that the translators would be able to translate the content and fulfill the message in the 3 languages that we manage in the Inter-American system. Another challenge was to implement security, to implement knowing how people are accessing the site. And then we have a series of guidelines that guide us as we continue giving follow-up to this structure.
No puedo ver el...
This report is a guide of how we can continue giving follow-up to the maintenance of a website. The steps we follow here are to review the updates that requires the platforms and the plugins. We make an optimization of the database to review information that we do not need anymore or that is causing slowing down the system. We also manage a revision of the pods to see if they were erased, if some news or story, some resource was erased, and then we shouldn't have erased it. Now we also validate how long the site has been up and how many times it's been knocked down, and how the platform and hosting is giving us the appropriate service to fulfill the requirements. Also, we review the analysis and see how many people have joined us, where from. For example, the updates give us on these plugins of the platform. In the area of optimization of the database and the reviewing of the posts. The backups is also a very important section that we have to, in case we miss the site, we can restore it. We have about 90 points of backup that we can restore the system if there were some problems. We also have control of how long the system has been running, how long it has been down. We can see the analysis in the analysis which country accesses more, how many visits, how many hits we get, how it has changed the situation in the last few days, in the last few months. As far as security, the system is protected by an antivirus specifically designed for WordPress. We also evaluate the attacks that have entered the site, and we continue to actualize, to update the system and be sure that we are clean from viruses and malware and so on. In regard to security, we also are evaluating and contracting an equipment, a team that may generate access from different places and may tell us if there are vulnerabilities. Something we need to emphasize is that technology is a habilitator, and we must all generate the content and transmit the information through technology.
Hola, soy Robert y soy fotógrafo adventista.
Hi, I'm an Adventist photography specializing in weddings. In my short experience, I've learned that each person has a story and that each story should be told. Photography gives us the opportunity to share this story. Two important things I have learned. The first one is confidence. Confidence is necessary, that should be generated by the protagonist of the story. This will permit to show you images, videos.
Esa es la segunda. No tengas temor en ser genuino. Cada persona tiene una forma diferente de ver la historia. Tú tienes la tuya.
You have your own way. Don't be afraid to tell your story. We have a story in the Bible, and it's the story of Jesus when he was speaking with different people. He wanted to share all of these stories.
Estamos muy emocionados este día después de tanto tiempo, de varios meses de trabajo, poderte compartir el próximo lanzamiento del sitio web de interamerica.org. Al momento de rediseñar un proyecto, un sitio web, tomamos ciertos elementos en cuenta para diseñar en conjunto la experiencia visual. Y quisiera compartirte en este breve momento 5 elementos que podrás tú poder descubrir al momento de entrar y navegar a través de las diferentes secciones del sitio web. El primer elemento que
The first one I'd like to share is that you will find a useful experience always. Why is this important? Because sometimes we
para ti o para la persona que lo está navegando
sometimes
útil.
these
Entonces,
sites
al
are not
momento de que
useful
entres al
for
sitio web
us or for
interamerica.org
many
vas
other
a poder
people.
encontrar
As you
recursos, vas
enter
a
this
poder
website,
enterarte de
you
los
will find
diferentes proyectos, de las
resources, you'll
diferentes
know
iniciativas
about
a través de los años,
projects,
va a
about
tener la División
initiatives
Interamérica,
that
vas a
the
encontrar
Inter-American
eventos, vas a
Division,
encontrar un
you will
calendario,
show
diferentes
events,
noticias alrededor
calendars,
del
different
mundo
news from
que
around the
podrás
world
tú
that
también
you will be
aportar
able
por medio
to
de las redes
use. You may
sociales.
share
Simple
them
porque
through
también hemos
the
tratado de
social media.
encapsular, agrupar los
It was
ciertos elementos
simple
que tienen en
because
común
we
a
have
través de
been
las
able to
diferentes secciones,
show
tratando de colocarlos a
common
través de etiquetas que tú
things
puedas
through
entender,
tickets,
muy
through
comunes, muy
sites that you will
fáciles de
be able
asimilar
to
y que tú, al
understand,
momento de
very
navegarlo tú puedas
very
no necesariamente
simply
perderte, al contrario
understood.
disfrutarlos y también
Not
aportar
only
por medio de
show,
comentarios
but
y
also
utilizando las
comment
diferentes redes sociales.
on the
El segundo
different
concepto que quisiera compartir
sites. The
es
second
que
concept
siempre
I'd
se
like
dice
to
que el
share
contenido es
is
el
that
rey.
the content is the
Este sitio
king.
web no sería nada si no
this
fuese a través del contenido que se publica y que
Website
todo el
is
equipo de
wouldn't
Interamérica
be
hace el esfuerzo
anything
por
if
publicar.
it
Al momento que
didn't
tú mandas
have a
una
message.
noticia, que
At the
quiero
time we
recalcar que tú
take
puedes hacerlo a través de las
a
redes
piece of
sociales o de
news,
los
you
diferentes
can
medios.
share
Nosotros tomamos
through
ese
the
contenido, lo editamos
social
y lo
media.
transformamos
We'll
por medio de
take
fotografías,
this
por medio de videos también.
news,
Y siempre va a
transform
ser
it through
ese el
photography
centro
and
y núcleo
videos, and that
importante y
message is
relevante
going
del
to
sitio web.
always
Ese es el
be
segundo
the
elemento.
most important.
Como
That's
tercer
the second
elemento,
element, the
podemos
message.
compartirte que en
The
este
third
diseño,
element,
y
as
como
we
podrás notar los
redesign,
diferentes sitios que tú visitas
is
durante el
the
día,
sites
es
that
amigable
you
para los dispositivos móviles. No
visit
importa
through
desde qué
today. It
dispositivo
is
tú
a
vas a poder,
user-friendly
quieras visitarlo,
from
ya
whichever
sea un iPad, una tablet, un smartphone,
from
o
whichever
tu computadora
piece you
personal,
can
tu
use,
laptop, tú vas
from
a
your
poder
computer,
encontrar una
your phone,
experiencia
your
adecuada
iPad.
y que se va a sentir muy
You will
agradable
find a
y
platform
nativa,
that
ya
is
sea en tu teléfono o en los diferentes dispositivos.
agreeable to
Como
your
cuarto
phone
elemento, puedo
or to
compartirte que hemos
whatever
agregado un
form you
elemento
use.
social.
The
Para que no
fourth
solamente la
element, we
comunicación
have
surja en una vía, sino surge en dos vías.
aggregated
Para que tú,
a
al momento de
social
que puedas
element
compartir algunas
that you
historias,
may
puedas
share some
utilizar un
stories, that you
Nosotros
may
vamos a
share
estar
in
muy
Instagram.
atentos a lo que tú
We will
compartas en
be
las diferentes redes sociales, ya
expecting
sea
what you
Instagram o sea
share
Facebook.
through
Nosotros
Instagram,
vamos a
through
poder
Facebook.
estar y
We
poderlas compartir también en
should
nuestras
be
redes
able to
sociales y
reach
automáticamente
and
van a
share
aparecer
with our
en nuestro
social
sitio web.
media
Como
also,
último
and
elemento,
share them
quisiera
in
yo
our
compartirte
website
que
also.
la
As finally,
experiencia
the last
refleja la
element,
identidad
the
del
experience
esfuerzo
reflects
reciente que
the
hizo nuestra
effort
iglesia a
that the
nivel global
Inter-American
de la actualización
and the
de
global
su
church has
identidad.
done
Podrás
as they
tú
have
descubrir los colores
found
adecuados,
the
las
new
tipografías acordes a la identidad.
colors
Hemos
and so on
tratado
used
de
throughout
interpretarla
the
y
world
hacer el
church.
mejor esfuerzo
We have
para
tried to
reflejar esa
interpret
identidad
this
que nos
identity
une de una forma
that unites
consistente
us
y que
consistently
también transmite los valores para
and
que
that
cada
also
interacción, ya sea
transmits
en el
our
sitio web,
values, that
las redes
through
sociales
all
o
the
diferentes
interactions
sitios
through
de la
web and
organización
the
global, podamos todos encontrar no solamente el
social
mismo
media, we may
propósito, sino a
find the
través de
same
estos
purpose,
elementos visuales
but
una
also through
consistencia
these
a
visual
través del sitio
elements,
web de
a
Interamérica.
consistent,
Visítalo y
a
también
consistency
manténnos al tanto
throughout
de
the
lo que quisieras tú que
Inter-American
mejoras.
site. Visit us.
¿Estamos al aire? Sí.
Are
Muy
we on
bien.
the air?
Pues yo creo
Yes.
que después de estas excelentes presentaciones
After
de
these
nuestros
beautiful
diferentes amigos,
presenters
compañeros,
from our different
ustedes han de estar
friends, you will
inquietos,
be
desesperados de conocer el nuevo sitio web. Así que David,
anxious to
Samuel,
know the
¿por
new
qué no nos
website.
presentan
So
lo que es
David
el
and Samuel,
nuevo sitio web de
please
la División
show us the new
Interamericana?
website
Que
of the
hemos-
Inter-American Division.
Quiero enfatizar que este es
I want to
un
emphasize that this
prelanzamiento, David.
is a
Aún no hacemos el
pre-launching,
switch,
David.
¿verdad?
We're not doing the switch yet. In a few weeks we will do it, but we want to show it to a select public so that you may start knowing the concept, the new concept, and the image that will be available in some 6 weeks or so. But David, I leave the microphone again into your hands.
Claro que sí, muchas gracias, Abel.
Thank you,
Quisieras
Abel.
dar un recorrido muy
I
breve
would
a
like
través del
to
sitio
make
que tú
a
vas a poder
short,
disfrutar
very
en
brief.
unas semanas. Ese es el homepage que tú puedas poder ver.
This is the
Al momento de
homepage
entrar
you
al
can
sitio, cuando
see.
teclees interamerica.org y principalmente vas a poder encontrar estas secciones. La
Interamerica.org,
primera
you will
sección,
find these sections.
que tiene un hashtag Adventist IAD.
Hashtag Adventist EAV, new section, stories, section, directory, resources, about. Now, Samuel, can you give us a tour on these sections we're going to see? Some things that we have been able to achieve through the Inter-American Division, Samuel, is to show some of the emotions. This is a type of photography we have seen, the action of daily things, daily activities, our Sabbaths, our camp meetings. We also separate the part of news and stories. So news would be, hard news would be statistics, events, and so on. And the stories would be soft news, so something more human, more emotional, as we talked about during storytelling. We would also like to play with relevance in the size, the use of graphics. Some have photography, some don't. The user can have a better better use of the ideas with the relevance photography, and I would like to go to this lower part where we can integrate content published through Instagram, and we would select content from all the countries that have been joining us. So this is an invitation to join us. This would be our home. Excellent. I also would like to indicate the design, the new section we have been designing. We want to give it a more relevance, the resources, the new website. You will find resources grouped by projects. For example, Global Youth Day, the Pastor's Day, 10 Days of Prayer, where you can get different graphics that you will use at church, videos, and some elements that you may continue giving projects that exist in our church. As we go into this section of the hashtag, this is an example of how it's going to be with real content taken from the official Inter-American site. This is a way to group the different graphics, real information that you give us, or ticket them, or through a comment through the front page. Now we'll see the section of news. Recent news, you may be browsed. We made a special work, very interesting, indexing the news for the last 15 years, appealing to nostalgia, the memory, what has been going on for the last 15 years in our countries. And this has been a big challenge for technology. There are more than 3,000 news since the time of the first page was launched. Share us about storytelling. The next time you want to tell a story about how the campery was, we had 3,000 people, we had 47 activities, and it was very great, and the group of the whole people. But it's very difficult for it to touch a heart and to stay with it. But what would happen if the next time you would center in one person? Let's say John, he is 14 years, he works 6 months to be able to get funds to go to the campery. He's been 1 year in the church. The time he spent in his academic formation, how his effort to practice in the activities that he did, how he enjoyed the food, the activities, how he knew some more people, how was his interaction, how he knew someone that spoke another language. Telling us about Juan, it would be the approach that we are showing, so that we can tell those stories that are relevant to us and that invite us more to be a part of the project of this division. In each story we share, it will be not only in the part of story, we will also like to include some videos. It will be a different way to find out what God is doing for each one of us. I like an Uruguayan writer, Baliano. He used to tell stories. He has a book called Collecting Stories, and he collected stories from different trips and so on. So we're asking that you send us connections through Instagram, through Facebook, when you're part of a story that is intriguing. Let us know. Tell us about it. We're even interested in going to record and get us involved, so that we may be strengthened in Christ. This is the section, the directory section. This section, as we can see, just a few institutions. It will be growing as time moves on. In a map, you can see the institution, the official institutions of the church, sister institutions, or really under the Inter-American Division. These, we will continue using them for each person to be in your map, in your cell phone. Find the placement of these institutions in Google Map, find them exactly where they are. So that the next time you're traveling in one of our countries, you enter the directory and you will see where each institution might be. The resource, the time of resources is very important on a daily basis. Our Sabbath, evangelism, youth programs, children's programs. Sometimes we need tools when we're 2 days off and we don't have all the information yet. So the intention of this section is to group it all together. Yes, I remember in my church, for example, in Monterrey, this is very useful in the youth, the summer sessions. How can we access the graphic part or the resources, the audios, the videos, and so on? So through this section, we compile them, all these events. We may click one of these projects, and we will be sharing monthly new resources regarding this project. There's the PDF here. We have images. This is something different, something that should be very useful. This will be useful and accessible through your cell phones. If you're in church, you may access through YouTube, through this section, and present it or even project it in your church from your computer or from your cell phone. This will be a quick win that will be very useful for each member of the church. At the end, then, where it says about, will tell you how the division is part of a global mission that responds to the Adventist Church worldwide. And who are our directors, the departments? We have some information in each one. The idea is to know our pastors, our leaders in this aspect. Sometimes we obviate some of these things, but here what we wanted to have present is what is going on, who are the people in charge, and how we may contact them, that we may have it all at hand. In the departments section, not only the leadership, but also the project from each department and the resources that they share with us. Now, at the very end, we keep the languages, recognizing the polarity, the different languages where you can speak, you can use the our sections in French, in Spanish, and in English. Each section has been placed in the right place, corrected in each language, and this will be very significant for the people that are visiting. For those that like us, as we do the language or languages, it's very interesting to see how we have the events happening, going on. Remember, this is a pre-launching. This is like a preview of what we will have. This is an exclusive format, like a kickoff of what the beginning of what the project will eventually be. This website is yours, it's for you. We have to fill the house with stories and dreams, and it has begun. We praise the Inter-American Division for this dream. Sometimes we forget about these dreams, but this team has made a great effort, a very professional effort. They have made a step forward in the areas of design, communication, with the hope that you will join. We are a privilege and an honor for us. We thank each one, the Department of Communication, that they may have invited us, and we invite you also to join us as we share content. Visit our website, give us our opinion when you are in the air, that we may continue growing as an excellent product.
Positivo.
Positive.
Familiar.
Change.
Único y sin costos de afiliación para tu sistema de cable. Este es el canal de televisión Esperanza TV Interamérica.
Esperanza TV Interamérica. Hope TV.
Enfocados en contenido audiovisual que transforma vidas, Esperanza TV Interamérica cuenta con una diversidad de programas inspiradores, culturales, educacionales y de salud que desafían al televidente a ser cada día una mejor persona. Nuestra programación cuenta con un aval científico e informativo respaldado por más de 50 hospitales e instituciones de investigación a nivel mundial. Somos parte de la red global de televisión Hope Channel, que cuenta con 56 diferentes canales alrededor del mundo, compartiendo esperanza en 57 idiomas y utilizando más de 11 satélites para cubrir el globo terráqueo con nuestra programación. Nuestra labor está enfocada en el crecimiento de comunidades, trabajando de la mano con organizaciones que son referente en la promoción y cuidado del ser humano integral en sus fases físicas, mentales y espirituales. En Esperanza TV Interamérica estamos
Hope Channel
construyendo puentes,
Inter-America, we are
transformando
constructing
vidas.
bridges,
Y es que
transforming
nuestro objetivo
lives.
principal
This is
es ayudar a
our main
personas a
objective,
tomar
to help
mejores
people
decisiones.
to make
Es por ello
better
que hemos
decisions.
diseñado
This
una
is why
programación
we have
exclusiva
designed
y
an
especializada
exclusive
para
programming
niños, jóvenes y adultos
specialized
en un
for
formato
children,
actual,
youth, and
único,
adults
creativo
in a
y atractivo.
creative, attractive,
Nuestros espacios de
unique
marketing
format.
diariamente
Our
promueven el
marketing
canal.
spaces
Además,
continually promote
realizamos
the channel.
operativos de puerta en puerta,
Besides,
lo que
we,
representa un mayor número de
show
suscriptores
door-to-door
para tu sistema
initiatives.
totalmente gratis.
And it's free for all of you.
¿Qué esperas? Sé parte
What
de
are you
Esperanza
waiting for?
TV
Be part of
Interamérica, donde juntos
Hope Channel
estaremos
TV
construyendo puentes,
Inter-America, where we'll
transformando
be
vidas.
making bridges, transforming lives.